bloomerboomer.com. You are watching Boomer TV with the internationally renowned Cyndi Dale, author, speaker, healer, and the author of 27 books about energy, medicine, intuition, and spirituality. And you can be part of this amazing journey on the bloomerboomer.com platform that will launch you toward the most fulfilling life you want after 55. Today, Cyndi will talk about how you can develop your clairvoyance. And now, here's Cyndi Dale.
Hi, everybody. Today of all days, just after election, I'm sure we would love to see into the future. Well, we're going to talk about clairvoyance, the energetic gift of seeing psychically. You've probably experienced clairvoyance, whether or not you're aware of it. Have you had a dream in Technicolor? Maybe had a visitation during your dream of a deceased ancestor or parent, or seen something that actually later came true, or worked out an issue because of what occurred either during the positive dream or the nightmare. Has your eye ever been caught on a billboard and it exactly answered a question that you had? Have you had a picture pop into your mind, whether you were just cleaning the house or meditating? Well, if any of those situations have occurred for you, you have experienced your clairvoyance. We are all clairvoyant. I'm going to talk about that subject today, how it works, where it's based in your body, mainly your chakra system, your subtle energy system. And I'm going to help you to develop at least one aspect of your clairvoyance. This is actually one of my favorite energy topics because I am very clairvoyant ever since I was a small child. In fact, with my physical eyes, when I was little, I could see spirits and colors around people. And now in my work as an energy practitioner and an intuitive, I commonly get visions, psychic visions in my head, and sometimes with my eyes that help me help my clients, that give me insights about their deeper mysteries or what might be underlying a really challenging problem, what might be the cause of an issue. What might unfold in their life? What are those potential futures, or maybe what a friend of theirs is doing halfway around the world? And you can use this sort of spidey sense to get those kind of insights because we are all clairvoyant. I'm reminded of a story my youngest told me one time when he came home from school several years ago. Right now he's 21. He was about 4 or 5. And he came home from, kindergarten or preschool with a stack of colored papers, apples, bananas. I can't remember what they do with C, the ABCs. And he showed these to me. And he said, "Mom, these are like so boring." I said, "Well, you made the apple red and the banana yellow." And he goes, "Yeah, but those aren't the colors they look like in my head." And so I said, "Well, you hang on to those pictures in your head because those are often more true and valid than the pictures we see when we put on our clothes and look in the mirror and say, 'I'm wearing purple.' Maybe you're not, because every color under the kind of reign of clairvoyance actually has a specific and certain meaning, which we're going to briefly talk about. When I'm with a client, like I said, I typically see images or pictures. I bet you get a lot of these just without maybe paying attention or even noticing. So, as I describe how clairvoyance works, that might help to explain this apparatus and how this ability might be online for you already, and of course, how we can bring it more online. Clairvoyance, which again means clear seeing, is an intuitive gifts and energy gift, a way to read or interpret in usually invisible energy or information in our mind's eye, kind of like on the screen that is in our forehead. It's linked to what's called the sixth chakra, also called the brow chakra, the third eye. You've seen pictures. They're even on American dollar bills with the eye. That's the third eye. It relates to the ability to be able to get inner images of that which is inside or around us. That third eye is actually, like I already inferred, here in the brow. And it actually functions in the backside of that space as well as in the front side. Is connected to your pituitary gland, which runs your body. It runs a lot of the hormones in your body. And so, this chakra or energy center not only works with the invisible realms to help create and paint and interpret all the colorful pictures that you might be given or you might create, say, in response to a question, but that energy center also runs a lot of your physical body, like your hormones, your eyes, a lot of your thinking apparatuses, your ability to retain memories, etc. The reason that I talked about this energy center as having a backside and a front side is that the way we receive visions works with that particular outline. We get information, the band of energy typically seen in our chakra diagrams as purple in through the backside of the chakra. So you could see, even consider that it's in the backside of your chakra. You're gathering the unknown, or you're receiving images or potentialities or ideas from the divine, or spiritual guides, or people who unconsciously are projecting images at you, messages at you, that which they want you to consider as true or false. That information comes in to that chakra, actually into the pituitary gland, where it's then interpreted. And usually don't know you're doing this. You're making a decision about all those ideas, all those images that come to you through the backside. You're saying, what am I going to believe is true? How am I going to deal with this information? What decisions am I going to make? What strategies am I going to develop? Once we, usually unconsciously, interpret what we're receiving and make decisions about it, often unconsciously, we want to change that. We then project those ideas, those concepts, those decisions forward. And you know what happens as soon as ideas plop in front of you? You're creating your future. So, part the mists of time, clairvoyance, also called oracles or seers, have always been considered to be those gurus who see into the future, can help you determine what choices are going to get you into a desired future, help see or perceive what happened in the past, what's happening in concurrent reality. And so, why would you not also use this gift? Sometimes when I'm talking about clairvoyance, people say, well, is that the same as aura reading? Aura reading is one type of clairvoyance. So, usually with clairvoyance, we're seeing colored images inside of us, a vision that pops in, a movie strip, a color, a shape, some kind of form, a dream. But sometimes with our physical eyes, we can see kind of energies around somebody, rays of colors or rays of light. And those rays are what's called the auric field, the energy around somebody that can kind of give you a photograph of what's happening with them right now. For instance, if you pick up a lot of red, that person's like moving and doing things. Yellow, they're thinking. Green, they're in sort of a, kind of a connected place. Blue, they're philosophizing. Purple, they're in a higher state of awareness. White, they're very pure and spiritual, etc. You don't have to, of course, just see those images, the external field with your physical eyes. You might get all that inside of yourself too. Now, I already told you when I work with people, I get a lot of images. So, how does that work? For instance, earlier today, I was working with a client and I could see her reading a book and eating chocolate. Not a very exciting image, except she was asking me, what do I like doing more than anything in the world? I'm trying to learn about who I am. And I said, well, the image I'm getting in my head is of you reading a book and eating chocolate. She goes, oh my God, I do that every night. And she said, the problem is that I do that till like 2 in the morning and then I can't fall asleep. And so I said, yeah, it seemed like your guidance, your inner self was trying to give me an image that I was supposed to help you with or give you a little bit of insight about. And so she said, well, why do you think I stay up so late doing that? Instantly, I saw an image in my head of a man who I assumed to be her father yelling at her right before she would go to bed. But I saw also in my head a calendar, and circled were 7 days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I said, did your dad often yell at you before you go to bed? And she goes, oh my God, all the time. And I said, so then you'd stay up reading, right? Because you were so upset. So reading at night and eating chocolate, who doesn't like to eat chocolate, for her was a way of avoiding the fear that she had brought with her from childhood. It doesn't seem, when I get images like that, that they're terribly meaningful sometimes, but they hold meaning if they do hold meaning, whether that be for yourself or somebody else. Sometimes we get these images, like I said, with our physical eyes, and we need to pay attention. Not yeah, long ago, probably 7 years ago or so, I heard a voice in my head, and the voice was, I'm coming back. It was early in the morning. I knew it was my dog, Honey, a golden retriever who was spastic and crazy, who had died 3 years earlier. And I'm like, oh no, please don't. I'm just busy. And that same morning, my son came into my room. He was kind of a smaller sprite at that time, young teens. And he goes, Mom, I had a dream about Honey. We have to find Honey again. I think he's coming back. And Gabe had already Googled up websites to find golden retriever puppies. And he found this website with this dog named Tank. And he goes, I think that's Honey. I think we have to get Honey. I mean, Tank. Tank was in Pennsylvania and we're in Minneapolis. And I was like, I don't want to bring in a dog from Pennsylvania. I mean, this could be a puppy mill. So I said, I need signs. Over the next 3 days, everywhere Gabe and I went, we saw pictures of tanks, GI Joe tanks, uh, toilet tanks, any kind of tank that there was on billboards. We got mailings of tanks, and I had Honey delivered to my house from Amazon. I had never ordered. That's clairvoyance. So signs that came on the billboards. And the final sign, I was at my therapist's office, and I was just saying to her as I was leaving, I just need one more sign, or I'm just not going to get this dog. I can't handle one more busy in my life. Go out the door. It's a dog-free building. A dog comes up to me. No one is in the hallway, carrying a leash, comes up to me with the leash. Clairvoyance, a sign. I got Honey, who was Tank. Now he's Honey, and the rest is history. He's just like he was every other time he has incarnated. So we use clairvoyance to make decisions. Sometimes we see potential futures, like I said. Sometimes we just use it to strategize, to get an idea about what it is we need to do. If you don't believe you're getting images, it might be because you shut this ability down when you were a kid. You don't pay attention to them. You don't remember your dreams. You're blocked from a past life, but let's take care of that. I'm going to walk you through a short exercise. You're going to be based in your brow, your third eye, your sixth chakra. I'm going to ask a question and help you get an image of some sort. Pay attention to it and believe it. Intuition works best when you believe it. Trust the image, as kooky as it might be, as awesome and believable as it might be as well. All right, take a couple deep breaths. And just settle into your body, let go of the day, let go of what's out there in the world. You know what? Just even release what's inside your body, in your little microcosm of the world too. Allow yourself to affirm your own essence, your own wondrous, beauteous spirit, the divine spark that you are. To connect into the spiritual guides, whatever you believe them to be, such as angels, masters, or helpful ancestors. And then surrender unto whatever it is you call the greater spirit, the divine, the goodness, or the oneness. And request to be focused in the middle of your third eye, the center of your forehead, deep in your brain, in that space of light and expansiveness inside that which is called the sixth chakra. And in here, give permission for all levels of guidance to just simply further activate and balance this, your center of clairvoyance. You might feel a few physical shifts, energetic flashes, a sense of openness and beingness. And as you settle into this transformation, I'm going to ask a question for which you're going to be provided by your inner and outer guidance, an image or set of images of some sort that will provide an insight. What quality do you most need to own about yourself? What quality, what ability, what characteristic is most important for you to know about yourself? Hone in on that question. Breathe into your brow and then ask to have an answer imprinted visually in front of you. Your eyes are probably closed. You can keep them open if you want, but ask to be handed, given, to have sculpted, pixelated, a vision in response to that question. This vision or sense of it will have at least one color. It might show you doing something. You might perceive written or typed words. You might get a memory or just imagine something. Whatever you receive is accurate. Pay attention not only to the vision, but how it makes you feel. And if you'd like more insight, ask for yet a different picture or a different insight. Just play with that, get the sense or the feeling of that particular picture. And then know that if you need to get additional information, other pictures, other visions, other dreams, other pictorial imaginations, those will come through the rest of the day, when you're sleeping tonight, or sometime tomorrow. Trust what you've been given, trust you'll be given more. And then breathe deeply with gratitude for all that assisted you. Return your focus to your everyday self, to your physical self, and know anytime you want, you can just affirm your spirit, the guidance, the help, and ask for a vision. It might show up inside of you in Technicolor, like the Land of Oz, or at some point within the next few hours, you might see something with your physical eyes. Breathe deeply, be present, practice your clairvoyance. Well, thank you, Andy. That was fun to share.
That was very, very enjoyable. Thank you for that. And we do have a few questions from Peggy, Robert, and Joan, and they're all kind of the same. Kind of same question idea from this one is from Peggy, and she says friends tell her about her ability of the third eye. She wonders where it came from for her, and whether it's instinctive or learned.
That's a great question because we are all born with the third eye because we all have a sixth chakra that's here in the brow. I believe in past lives. I believe that many of us use this ability to get visions, be seers or oracles in other lifetimes. And if that occurred, we may come into this life and have that gift activated sooner than those of us who have to work on the gift, for whom the ability is kind of dormant and we have to go take psychic development classes or Google up how to use your third eye. So I would say to Peggy also, trust that you have that gift. If your friends are telling you you have it, you got it. And just use it more. Easy ways to develop a third eye that's already active, or if it's just starting to open, make decisions with it. Like think about what you might want for dinner. And maybe you're going to decide between a vegan meal and pot roast. I mean, they're really different. Close your eyes and ask to picture in your mind which is best for your body, and then go with that choice. So keep working your ability, Peggy and everybody, and it will get stronger.
Kind of, yeah. I did summarize all those questions into one, and so let's see. Do people who need to get a hold of you or want to get some more information, how can they do that?
Very easy. I'm at cindydale.com. Cyndi is spelled oddly, Cyndi, and that's my website. So thank you, all three of you who asked that question about clairvoyance.
Well, that was helpful, and I'm going to have to get your website up so people can see it. And the next shows, I'll include that. Sorry I didn't have it in there earlier, but as always, thanks for joining us today, Cyndi.
Thank you. Next time, we're going to talk about gratitude. In America, we're coming up on Thanksgiving. I think we could all use some healthy doses of gratitude, which is good for your health.
Aha, yes, never can have too much of that. That
Yeah.
sounds good. Well, thanks, Cyndi. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
And for watching today's show. Cyndi Dale, an internationally renowned author, speaker, healer, and business consultant, and author of 27 books about energy, medicine, intuition, and spirituality. You can find out more on Facebook or here at bloomerboomer.com. See you next time.